Our lead story tonight, in an interview, the Foreign Minister S Jaishankar said that there is a larger conspiracy on the BBC docu-series and statements made by billionaire George Soros. He said that forces are working hand in glove both here and abroad, pointing out that this is about losing an election and that election season, India's election season, is beginning now in targeting in London and New York. He also talked about China and saying that as a smaller economy, will we pick a war with the larger economy, pointing out that it's only now that India is investing in border infrastructure and that it's Prime Minister Modi who sent the army to the line of actual control, not Rahul Gandhi.
But let me tell you one thing. I don't know if election season has started in India and Delhi or not, but for sure it has started in London and New York. What is it we are debating? We are not debating just a documentary or a speech that somebody gave in a European city or a newspaper edit somewhere. We are debating actually politics which is being conducted ostensibly as media, so there is a phrase, war by other means. There is also, think of it, this is politics by another means. I mean, you'll do a hatchet job, then you want to do a hatchet job and say, well, this is just another quest for truth which we decided after 20 years to put out at this time. So I mean, come on, you think the timing is accidental? It's like drip, 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 like water on stone. The whole idea is to shape your image, your collective image. Shape it in a way in which you're made to look extremist, you're made to look unreasonable, you are made to look as though, you're not part of this, what is otherwise a great, good, progressive world. Okay. Now, it happens in different ways. The bulk of international papers, especially the Anglosphere papers, but all of them, how many of them tell you 370 was a temporary provision? I challenge you to show me one. They don't. It's written there in bold letters, in capital letters in the Constitution. That and there is a very strong bias. I mean, let's be frank about it. Newspapers, there are newspapers, I don't want to go into names, who will publish something absolutely ridiculous on one side and you say, okay, I want to counter it. They say, no, hang on a moment, I'm busy doing a fact check on what you are saying. So we saw this bias very, very clearly over the last 4 years. I just look at the budget of the border infrastructure. During the Modi period, the budget has gone up 5 times. Till 2014, roughly it was 3,000, 4,000 crores was the budget. Today it is 14,000 crores. If you look at the roads which are built, you look at the bridges that are built, they have doubled or tripled. You look at the tunnels which are taking place. I mean, this government is serious about border infrastructure. Somewhere we are being accommodative. I mean, I ask people, if we were being accommodative, who sent the Indian army to the LAC? Rahul Gandhi didn't send them. Narendra Modi sent them. Okay, we have today the largest peacetime deployment in our history.
So far, the main opposition, the Congress, hasn't responded to Mr. Jaishankar's remarks made in that exclusive interview with Smita Prakash. Meanwhile, the other big headline, President Vladimir Putin of Russia today addressed the nation, and a day after the US President Biden's visit to Ukraine, blamed the West squarely for the Ukraine war, saying they're the ones who let the genie out of the bottle by arming Ukraine. He said that we have to re-equip our nuclear forces. This on a day that Russia ended its last nuclear pact with America.
Президент Российской Федерации Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin.
Russian president vowing to continue the war in Ukraine hours after the US president, in a surprise visit to Kyiv, vowed to continue supporting Ukraine with military and other aid till it wins. President Putin's invasion of Russia began on the 24th of February last year, for which he has blamed the West. He says they want to expand NATO to Russia's borders by making Ukraine a member, and they were close to launching action, which is what he preempted to protect Russia. and the eastern parts of Ukraine, which he claimed and annexed.
And I would like to reiterate this. It was them who unleashed this war. And the goal of the West is unbridled power. They have already spent more than $150 billion to supply weapons to the Kiev regime. But it was them who let this genie out of the bottle.
He's called for more military preparations, signaling he will continue to fight.
Important to re-equip our forces and nuclear forces. We have to reach a level of preparation of at least 90% in all the areas of the military force. Those men need to understand that their country is in a position to use the best they can give, and we have the technical means, we have high quality forces, very much superior to their counterparts in other countries, but we need to step up the production of our weapons.
This signaling is important in a year the Russian army has gained and lost control of much of Ukraine, except for some bits in the east. Today, however, Putin conceded problems, promising healthcare to injured soldiers, jobs and vacations for families of fallen ones, and a pay hike and subsidized housing for armament workers.
Draftees and volunteers and officers and soldiers of the army are thinking about the supplies for them and about the remuneration for their wounds and injuries that they receive, the health care and the requests that the governors are receiving, and the ombudsman on the rights of human rights. We receive a lot of these requests, and it means that a lot of problems are still not resolved, so we need to take care of every individual case.
Russia's war efforts suffered setbacks because of supplies, poor management, eventual induction of conscripts, which led to many men fleeing Russia and protests. But now, it's making some gains thanks to Putin's controversial induction of a ruthless private army led by a close associate, which uses prisoners as soldiers. Putin says the country has everything it needs for its security and its economy is fine. Bureau Report, NDTV.
Правда за нами.
President Putin speaking there for over an hour, not surprisingly getting a standing ovation. The other big headline tonight, well, India's payment system, UPI, goes international. Today, India and Singapore signed a cross-border payment connectivity, which means that you can actually pay digitally between mobiles of both countries with no extra charges and within moments. Both Prime Minister Modi and Singapore's Prime Minister were present at the launch.
आज के लॉन्च ने cross-border fintech.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi, along with his Singaporean counterpart Lee, launching a linkage between India's leading payment system UPI and Singapore's PayNow, a similar instant payment platform.
With the help of UPI and PayNow Singapore,
आज के बाद सिंगापुर और भारत के लोग अपने मोबाइल फोन से उसी तरह पैसे ट्रांसफर कर पाएंगे जैसे वे अपने अपने देश के अंदर करते हैं। इससे दोनों देशों के लोगों को अपने मोबाइल से तत्काल कम खर्च में फंड ट्रांसफर करने में मदद मिलेगी।
This is India's first payment systems linkage that allows real-time cross-border payments, though it's Singapore's second. Indians with family members living in Singapore can now send them Indian rupees converted to Singapore dollars in a matter of seconds. Indians can also now instantly receive money from Singapore, which accounts for 5.7% of all remittances to India.
Cross-border retail payments and remittances between Singapore and India amount to over $1 billion annually. It's also the world's first such linkage to feature cloud-based infrastructure and participation by non-bank financial institutions.
UPI transactions hit a record high of over 8 billion transactions worth almost 13 lakh crore in the month of January, which was up 74% from a year ago. And UPI is the leading payment system in India. There have been several steps recently to make UPI go international. 2 weeks ago, the Reserve Bank of India announced that visitors from G20 countries will be allowed to make UPI payments to shop in India. Last month, the government announced that Indians in 10 other countries would be able to access UPI from April 30th. But the linkage with Singapore is the first step that lets people in another country pay and receive money via UPI. Priyanshi Sharma for NDTV.
In other headlines, one of India's most renowned poets, lyricist and screenwriter Javed Akhtar at the Lahore Literary Fest has called out the Pakistan government in Pakistan. When asked why it is that India is not pushing for peace, Javed Akhtar pointed out that 2611 terrorists are still roaming free in Pakistan. For this, interestingly, he even got praise from somebody who's attacked him in the past, Kangana Ranaut. Here's what Javed Akhtar said and then what he told NDTV.
हम तो बंबई के लोग हैं, हमने देखा हमारे शहर पे कैसे हमला हुआ था, तो वो लोग नॉर्वे से तो नहीं आए थे, ना इजिप्ट से आए थे, वो लोग अभी भी आपके मुल्क में घूम रहे हैं. तो ये शिकायत अगर हिंदुस्तानी के दिल में हो तो आपको बुरा नहीं मानना चाहिए.
When you made that point that look, if you believe that there are beliefs among people over here, look inside Pakistan and accept that 2611 terrorists are still floating around in your country. What was the response then? What was the response to that remark?
Why do see the video? They clapped. They agreed with me. Now, where we have to correct our stance, that obviously so many things have been happening that which have made an average Indian upset about it, rightly so. But the fact is that we have to understand that no country is a monolith. People who are doing this are not the only people of the Pakistan. There are millions and millions of people who want to have good relations with India.
Yes.
They admire India, India's progress, India's achievement. We tend to think of countries like monolith.
Yes.
It's not a monolith. The fact is that in our policy makers, there should be some kind of expediency that how do we connect with these millions and millions of people who want to have good relations with us. Let us not club them with the army and the establishment. That suits the establishment, that suits the army. Because, wonderful, if you will push everybody, every Pakistani towards the army and club them with the army, it suits the Pakistani army.
Yeah. In our country, where there are such sharp opinions on how we should and should not be dealing with Pakistan, one of the people who actually came out in full support of you is someone closely associated with the right, Kangana Ranaut, who said that I was a fan of his poetry earlier, but now I feel that he carries a lot of truth and purity with him. Is it not interesting that your thoughts can actually go a little way in sort of bringing us all together towards what I would suggest is most important, peace, irrespective of your political view?
What's your next question?
That's my question, sir, and it's the next one also.
I said, what's your next question?
No, come on, sir. Answer a little bit of that. Do you not believe that it's do you not believe that it's an important remark made by Kangana? How do you respond to that, sir?
I don't consider Kangana important, so how can she make important remark? Forget about her.
Javed Akhtar with his inimitable style there. Meanwhile, moving to a story which is really absolutely horrifying, and all of this caught on camera. I must warn the viewers that these visuals are disturbing, of a 5-year-old boy who was attacked by stray dogs in a car park in Hyderabad and mauled to death.
Happy birthday to a once happy family, now in shock and grief. 5-year-old Pradeep and his sister had on Sunday gone for the first time to their daddy's place of work at Hyderabad's Ambarpet. a pack of dogs attacked, mauled and killed him. Pradeep's father Gangadhar works as a security guard at a car showroom workshop.
First time this first time and last time I na kodukuna eppudu naku dhairyan cheptunde jagrata o pakkaki ivvani cheptunde na kodukuna ilantidi inka evariki jaragakoodu.
After the video went viral, Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation deployed stray dog catchers in the area. The city mayor summoned an emergency meeting.
It's something that, of course, I really felt very pained about. The street dog menace is something that we've been trying to, tackle in our municipalities across the state. In fact, we've created animal care centers, animal birth control centers. But when these incidents happen, it generally creates an uproar and a furor. My sincere condolences to the family, and we'll ensure that our best is done so that these incidents are not recurred.
The police told NDTV no case has been registered as there was no complaint, but admit that dog menace is a huge problem in this area, made worse by the open dumping of garbage and biological waste. A challenge and a problem not limited not just to this area or city, but to urban conglomerates across the country. In Hyderabad, with camera person Nagaraju, Uma Sudhir, NDTV.
Absolutely horrifying story there, and with so many complaints coming from across the country, as Uma points out, it's a larger issue that needs to be resolved. Meanwhile, from Karnataka, with elections not far away, the last thing you'd expect is two senior civil servants, one an IPS officer, the other an IS officer, to be sparring and private pictures being leaked on social media. The Chief Minister and the government has now stepped in, and both women, high-profile IS and IPS officers, have been transferred without a posting.
The Bommai government in Karnataka has effectively punished two warring senior women bureaucrats, removing D. Rupa IPS from her post of Managing Director of the Karnataka State Handicrafts Development Corporation and Rohini Sinduri IAS as the Commissioner of Hindu Religious and Charitable Endowments. This after IAS officer Rohini Sinduri and IPS officer Rupa attacked each other on social media. Chief Minister Basuraj Bommai ordered the two to not wash their dirty linen in front of the media.
ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಏನು ಲಿಖಿತವಾಗಿ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಆಗಲೇ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ನಿನ್ನೆ ಕರೆದು ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಕಂಡಕ್ಟ್ ರೂಲ್ಸು, ಆಫೀಸರ್ಸ್ ಕಂಡಕ್ಟ್ ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರಕಾರ
ವೈಯಕ್ತಿಕ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಗಳ ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನೋ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇದು ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಖಂಡನೀಯ. ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ವಿಶೇಷವಾದಂಥ ಗಮನವನ್ನು ಮಾನ್ಯ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳು ಕಾನೂನು ಚೌಕಟ್ಟು ಒಳಗಡೆ ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಇವರಿಗೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅದನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ.
On Sunday, D. Rupa of IPS rank shared private photos of IAS officer Rohini Sinduri on her Facebook page and leveled allegations of sending her photos to 3 male IAS officers in 2021 and 22 and corruption allegations against Sinduri, while Rohini Sinduri claimed Rupa was suffering from mental health issues, forcing the government to step in. In Bengaluru, Shrija for NDTV.